What's up guys, welcome to Ceramic Garage. Today I'm going to be tinting the front windshield of this infamous Tesla Model X, one of the hardest front windshields I've ever worked on. Although we've done tons of them, it's still a challenge every single time. I'm going to be going over some of the steps and some of the procedures we take to do a good job on doing this. I think the only other car that could match up on size for a window is the Cybertruck, although it doesn't have as many contours, so the heating process is way easier on the Cybertruck. I'd say this is still the hardest one out there. I'm going to keep it rolling while I go through some of the install techniques. I do have these side step ladders that are amazing to have. If you don't have them, I recommend you get them. We'll share the link on the bottom of the video. We pre-soak the windshield. We scrub it all down to get any contaminants off of it. That way it doesn't affect the film or mold actual specks into the film itself while you're heating it. Want to make sure it's super clean. This is a non-scratch scrub pad, just enough firmness to take off dirt from the surface. And this is actually called a Scotch Brite scratch-free pad made by 3M, I believe. Yeah, I think 3M. Yeah. Thank you, Fonzo. This works good, but there's been a lot of times that hard enough stuff that are stuck to it, like pollens, tree sap, or anything that's just not coming off with the scratch-free scrub pad, we always follow through with the clay bar. This is a heavy grit clay bar, and this will make sure to take off anything that didn't come off with the scrub pad. All right, now we're gonna follow up by squeegeeing it. It's very important to have a very clean glass before you lay film on here before the heat job, because you go through a lot of work and a lot of effort to do this job and to make sure that it's clean. And before you even start installing, you could have made the mistake by not having a clean glass. And you go through the whole process. And until you're done with the installation, you find out that you have molded specks or tears in your actual tint because you didn't clean the glass good. You always want to wipe the surroundings of the window, as once you start heating, that can also throw dirt under it. So you want to make sure the surrounding areas around the window are wiped down also. Now we're going to take our bounce sheet, we're going to soak it, kind of rub it together a little bit, that way we can get it activated. I'm also going to spray water on the windshield. That way I just get as much bounce on here as possible. You don't want to be halfway through this and have your film sticking to the glass while you're heating it, because that is definitely a sign of disaster or crease heaven. For me, it's always been the more bounce, the easier the heat job. Now we're gonna just give it some time to dry before we lay the film down. All right, so it's finally dry, and we're gonna be installing XPEL XR Plus 70%, if you can see that. It's one of the highest performing films out there today. It's also clear, so it's not gonna impair their vision or so what. It's a multi-layered ceramic film, and it doesn't get better than this. A brand new roll. They're getting the freshest of the freshest. All right, I'm gonna take a second to unwrap this. All right guys, brand new roll, just opened it. I've been tinting for 20 years and the tint roll got me. All right, so we're gonna only wet the center, so we have a tack point all the way to the top. Get that down, just kind of tack that, and then let's flip it this way, so that way the box doesn't scratch the tint as we're unrolling it. Just hold the box, come on that side. All right, just kind of tack down that center. Cool. All right, we're ready to start heating this bad boy. I know everyone has their choice of brand for heat guns. We've been using Milwaukee for the longest time. They work really good, they last a long time, and they push out high heat. Throw the cord over your shoulder so you're not scratching the car. Move your pouch to the side so it's not dangling on the paint, even though there's paint protection on this car here. I'm actually not really pulling the film, I'm just kind of wiggling it around, as if you were to kind of split the fingers, but I'm doing it by the end pieces instead. You don't normally wiggle your heat gun around like that unless it's a big piece of film and you really don't want to hold the heat gun in one place too long. You're playing it safe by wiggling it around, and at the same time the air is blowing the fingers around instead of being concentrated on one spot and you moving it with your hand. It's moving things around with the air itself. That helps disperse the heat instead of like focusing on one spot and burning it and then having to go through a whole nother sheet. That's the worst thing you could do on one of these, which will kind of either cut into your profit or take away your profit or waste a whole hour of your time. Depending on the thickness of films, some films are a lot easier to heat because they're single layered, but when you're dealing with like multi-layered ceramics that are really thick, it takes a little bit more time for the film to shrink. Kind of learning your films too, it takes time to adjust to the way you heat it or how much heat you can put on it before moving. We're getting ready to get this all prepped for the installation. We used to take off the side paneling in the beginning, but we did an A to B testing and it was literally the same results if we were to just tape off all the insides. You don't have to go through all that work. Plus, who wants half their interior front disassembled and reassembled just for a window tint? You have the option to take off this whole middle mirror, but again, we've done flawless jobs without taking it all off. The only thing I like to take off, so we have a more seamless install, is this piece right here that runs down the top. And you simply want to start clicking it off. You want to follow it up as you go. And you pull it off, as simple as that. It's just small clips that click back into it. Now you'll be able to get a little bit more inside coverage without having to take the whole thing off, because it is double-sided tape. So we're not going to do that. We're going to actually cut the center part out. Now we're going to take our 3M Scotch Blue tape that's not going to leave residue afterwards, and it'll be easy to remove. We're going to simply tape all the exterior points except the dash, right? Because we'll be putting our ropes in there. And it doesn't need excess tape, it just literally needs one piece put to any of the areas where the tint will touch as we're unrolling it. The top is very important. Now when you're putting tape, it's very easy to touch the glass with it and leave an adhesive mark. So you always want to watch that. Even though you'll go through your prep process, that's always a culprit of leaving adhesive behind. You want to be as tedious as possible. Make sure you have all the edges tacked down. You also want to make sure that the AC is off. We also have it in service mode. We're going to be covering the dash now with the soak shield rope, also with towels everywhere. That way we don't get any water on it during the installation. So we're going to be trimming everything out now. And before we actually go to cut, we use these very, very small cut up pieces of old white cards that we used to shrink, which are these right here. Normally they wear down and we don't use them anymore. So we cut them into small pieces to put between the glass and our blade. That'll help prevent scratching the actual window. I have Alan inside here helping me hold the light so I know where I'm going. Just kind of puncture it. So I got my white card clipped to the bottom of my blade. You got a little bit of tuckage. Every time you do a windshield install, you always want to make sure to see what kind of tuckage you have before cutting it. The more precise you can be, the better, and easier the install is going to be. Take it as far as I can before I go to the other side. We got everything cut out, ready to go. We heated any extra fingers here so that way the installation, they don't pop up. We got a lot of markings from my white card that are all over the actual tint. And what we're gonna do is use some rubbing alcohol to clean it off, because the last thing we want is any of those plastic flakes to get under the clear part. And as we roll it up, we'd hate for that to go into the film and be the outcome of our installation just because we didn't wipe them off. So again, rubbing alcohol to take off any of the plastic flakes. So we're getting ready to get this fully covered. We got it in service mode. We got our soak shield rope. Got the thicker one because there's a lot of space down there. So we want to get the bigger one for that reason. That way it soaks up whatever's falling down there. I mean, water in the dash is bad for any car, especially for an electric car. So kind of stuff it down there with our big yellow tool. Call it the Bigfoot. I call it the yellow slammer. So we got that in there. We're gonna cover our dash, cover our screen. Use multiple towels because we need it. I got 2 bottles because we're gonna need 2 bottles. Get it ready for the first prep. We're trying to avoid using blades on windshields. There's so much room for error that we want to stay away from doing that. We'll use our scrub pads. Now we'll take our lintless greenie. We'll go through all the edges first. Since we didn't take this plastic off, we want to make sure they're fully decontaminated, so we wipe them down really good just in case the film touches it, which most likely it is going to touch it. So we want to make sure there's no dust or debris hanging on it. And we'll finish wiping the rest down before we start any type of squeegeeing. Since we're not using blades on it, sometimes you can catch adhesive by just kind of rubbing your hand on it. It'll normally be in like a corner. It's never like centered in the window, but you should feel it. I like to do the prep work with Stroke Doctor. It covers more space, does a really good job squeegeeing, better than using like a White Max or a Fusion Blue Max that we use for installations, but not necessarily best for prepping. It takes you a lot longer, so I do use a Stroke Doctor for a lot of my installs, and I can say I have some of the cleanest installs without being too cocky about it. I think every tinner kind of has that about them. Everyone thinks they're the best till the best comes and shows them up. It's hard to kind of see how good of a cleaning you're doing because you got the film on the other side. You also have bounce everywhere. This is just the temporary first cleaning that we're doing. Once we pull off the film and roll it up, we'll follow up with a couple more cleans. Since the mirror is off, since the mirror is not off, we're gonna wanna not too deep in here because it might hit the felt, which will like aggravate it and get a lot of dirt, but just kind of hit that intro part of it. And I believe we can even pull it down a little bit. All right, let's go to the outside and get this rolled up. We're here, we made it to the fun part. Let's go ahead and tackle this thing down, and we'll show you the way that we roll it and unroll it. Although there's a lot of options, I see everyone doing it in their own way that they've kind of adapted to, but this is the way we'll do it. First, we're gonna wipe squeegee down our film so there's no contaminants on it before we do a back roll. So far, I'm by myself on this. Soon, I will have the team helping me because it's not a one-man install. And if you don't know, you know now, or you'll find out the hard way if you haven't watched this video. Knock it out, just kind of click your fingers and do a TikTok video. How it shows, them just kind of sticks down and you think that's the reality of it, but it's not. I'm gonna soak it as much as I can, so I'll have some time. It's not the hottest of the summer right now, which is good, because normally it wants to dry on you pretty fast. So we like to use a hardened paint protection roll that's in the scrap pieces to lay it across this before we roll it downwards. This will help once we get to that top portion so we don't end up with stuff falling or creases. And so I do need my team now to start helping me because this is the hard part. And if you want to be Mr. Cool Guy and do it by yourself, good luck. I just spent an hour and something heating this window and I'm not trying to do it again. I have a team somewhere, just waiting for them. All right, so we'll start that first roll, try to be on sync together. Once this is tucked under it, we don't gotta be super tight on it. Yeah, you don't wanna be like super tight on it either. Here, you just wanna be real slow on this part because it'll start causing a wrinkle. Now you're kind of lifting off the glass as you do the rest, so it's not creating tension right there. And we'll just keep it like that. So I could hold it without it bending right now because that PPF rolls in the center of it. I'm gonna lay this in the back so I can go ahead and continue my final squeegee before we get to the installation part. What you're gonna wanna do before you get to the final squeegee is clean the exterior so you can actually see what you're doing. You wanna get all the bounce off the glass. All right, now we can see what we're doing when it comes time for the final wipe down. It's the final wipe down. All right, so it's time. The final wipe down, the grand finale. It's the make it or break it right here. We got someone behind us helping with the unroll. Once we get laid down, oh my God, it's just doing it by itself now.
Wow.
Wow, it's so automated, it's so smooth. Some people like to go sideways on it. Some people go top to the bottom. We've tried every way. We like this way. I don't know what your way is. We'd love for you to share in the comment section if there's another way that you like. But if you haven't tried this way, or if you have, let us know and give us your feedback on it. All right, so I'm gonna go. You know, Tesla's a little bit uneven on their manufacturing. Sometimes they're good, sometimes it's shit. So I don't have any dirt dripping down. Plus, you want to kind of level out what you're doing. The Blue Max. Perfect. So we're gonna pull off our rope that's now soaked. That's why they call it soak shield. We're gonna wipe down the dash a bit. We're gonna grab a dry greenie, lintless towel. I'll show you where you can get these from too. We'll hit all our edges, get all the water out. If you don't install it properly, because this is split all the way down, it can move left to right. If you don't get it to sit comfortable, you're gonna end up with huge fingers here or here that you'll be battling, that turns into dirt, that could turn into creases that you'll have to heat. So when you position it on, you always wanna make sure you level the films as if it sat comfortably. If you notice, both of us, there was two of us and both of us were kind of shifting it around. Every time he shifted, it changed my shift, and when I shifted it, he changed it again, and it kept creating fingers. So it's better once it's laid down, one person handles it so you can adjust it comfortably before you tack it down, where I tack the center and the sides. All right guys, so now you know what it takes to install the windshield on a Model X. It was a little bit of a challenge. Took 3 of us at the end to actually unroll it. Came out good. We're gonna just continue to clean it, and we'll be using the quality glass cleaner in order to get it really good clean, no streaks, and also it's ammonia free. So we wanna keep ammonia free products only when it comes time to cleaning the window tint, so you don't fade or distort or ruin the tint itself. High foaming, streak free, ammonia free, smells really good. All right guys, that's a wrap. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to our channel for more information and more videos like this. Thank you.